Independent contractor business loans up to $2 million plus, incredibly fast without collateral. Even no hard credit checks, bad credit is acceptable. And a bonus for you today with marketing tips and strategies to really grow and expand your business. I'm going to be walking you through these things on really how to accelerate your business in case you're looking for just a few 10,000, 5,000, 20, 30, 100,000, a million plus. Whether you're an Uber driver, Lyft driver, a musician, grocery shopper, independent contractor in the field of construction, trucking, any other field, I'm going to be walking you through. You just apparently happen to see a roofer on the top of a house right there on your screen, laying it down and taking care of somebody else's home. Now, I'm going to be walking through this document a little bit, typing in a few things. But before I do any of that, my name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business loan broker expert who's helped out a lot of independent contractors and all types of businesses of all different backgrounds and industries, cultures, and I get it done. And I know my stuff in the market. So let me move this out of the way, just in case you haven't seen me before. And I've been able to gratefully and respectfully help out a lot of businesses in these times of needs get into the right vehicle with the right strategic partnership and roadmap. It's not something that I just say, it's what I do and how I express things. So if you've been here and you're returning, you know my kind of work, you know my kind of values, and how I'm able to help a lot of businesses, whether you're looking for an EIDL loan, a PPP loan, an independent contractor business loan / advance, through a line of credit, a lump sum, maybe some form of equipment financing specifically, a sales leaseback, a personal / startup loan, maybe a grant opportunity. You're just getting started with your business. I can help lead you in that direction. So let me jump right back into this, and I'm going to be flipping through a few documents here, hopefully. But just so you know, this can help service the construction field. We have Uber drivers, as I said, Lyft. We have truckers, anything you can think of, musicians, as I said earlier. And one thing you have to make note of that I'm going to write right here, and we're going to do this as we go. Please stick with me. Let's get this in 18 size font. Is wherever you go, just know that I have your back and will do what is in your best interest, meaning that I'm going to be taking care of you no matter what it takes to help you get the financing. Sometimes we're not in position to get the funding we want. And literally, you can do this even without a credit check if you have a certain category. So what every lender is looking for when you're going to a private lender, right? Without being said, you can't go through the bank, or you can, but you just find it more attractive. We're in a time right now where it's never been more equal to a bank, where the bank rates are similar, prime rates, and then plus an additional points, especially when you're looking at a non-banking solution. There's usually that 7.5% in the market today, but that could increase in the next year, beginning of next year. 7.5% now. It could be at 8.5, 9% plus an additional points. But if you don't even qualify for lower interest rates, it really doesn't really matter. And the rate isn't necessarily what you should be so careful about. It's more about trying to get a better term and a better repayment at the end of the day. And I can work with you to understand, okay, why does this offer make sense? Why doesn't it make sense? If there are multiple ones, which ones to choose from? And I'll leave more information down below in the description, guys, to fill out a questionnaire so you can get in touch with me. That's what I would do. Fill out that questionnaire like everybody does, and then I'll be able to evaluate and analyze your funding details and give you a proper response back on your best funding option and options thoroughly broken down. And I may show you this at the end. But every private lender, whatever independent contractor you define yourself to be, maybe you're pre-revenue or you're a non-startup with pre-revenue and you just have your entity established, but you haven't done anything under it, or you just had a setback, or you're a non-startup and you're generating revenue, right? And so underneath here, you want to stick around because I'm going to show you guys a great view of what you guys can do if you have a certain requirement. But without revenue, that equals no private lender for the majority. What does that mean? So at a minimum, you want to have at least 3K plus per month. And on your lowest month, you want to be making that. And that'll then consider you to get about 20 to 25% of your lowest month. And your term isn't going to be anything like 6 to 8 months. It's going to be more around 10 and a half weeks. You might be sitting at 2.5 months with this. But again, that's because you're at a revenue level of 3K plus per month in revenue, right? And now if you have 5K plus per month, then you're eligible now for more up to 75% of your lowest monthly revenue. And sometimes we look at the average monthly revenue, of the last 3 months, and we also base it off your annual gross revenue. So if you have 5K plus per month and not exceeding anything above 15K for the majority of the times, you will expect to get up to 75% of your monthly revenue. And that can fluctuate depending on your bank statements. And if you are depositing frequently, if you are not, and non-sufficient funds, negative days, it might have an implication on your credit. So credit isn't necessarily a factor, isn't 100% the decision maker, but it has some constitute. And let me move this over before I go into our next category, which you're going to love. If you fit this category, this will unlock more doors for you where you can get up to 200% of your monthly revenue. It's going to be insane. And I'm going to go into a few other things like closing up on the marketing and just showing you guys like why am I even bringing that up. You guys will learn more about it as I have a digital marketing background. I started a digital marketing agency, and then I have affiliate marketing businesses that I began a long time ago that I still run. But this is my proficiency as well, and this is what I focus on right now. And as an expert, I've been doing this for a long time, so I know things. And I've also been able to get funding for my own businesses. And I'll leave a story for me down below. I may touch upon it later. But if you want to learn more about who I am and how I'm able to be so effective with people and energy and time efficient, I connect. And I want to make sure that you are taken care of as a human first, in a person, and then secondly in your business. But just so you know, there are different ways of looking at this. So now let me kind of got off track there. There you go, credit decisions. So credit, I've had people who come in at a low level of doing 5K, not even 15K and above. More of if you do 15K and above, you can more or less not get away with it. I want to use those words. But if you're doing less than 15,000, but between 5 to 15,000, and on your lowest month, you didn't do above 15,000 in a lot of cases, again, you're going to get up to 75% usually of your lowest monthly revenue. And then we have to look at those independent bank statements and see, okay, maybe it isn't up to 75, maybe it's up to 55% of that. And you have to begin somewhere. Each and every one of you, depending, it doesn't matter if you're in that revenue bracket where you're 5K, 15, 20, less than 5K, 3K. What it all comes down to, and at the end of the day, is if most business owners are saying, hey, I want to get half of the amount that I'm doing in annual gross revenue, you wouldn't be able to service the debt. It doesn't work that way. The numbers don't crunch out to be like that. Even if it's on a shorter or on a longer term, I do the numbers too as the underwriter. I pre-underwrite. I'm literally like an underwriter, guys, when you come to me. And that's why you want to come to somebody like myself who knows this. And I handle the documents. I'm able to analyze and evaluate that. And I have a very analytical mind. I'm an introvert. And so just imagine an introvert handling your documents, taking care of it, going back and forth with the lender and underwriter. You don't want to have to go through all of that, do you? You want somebody else who can handle it for you. If it's more automated, I'll show you how it's done. And you'll come into my ecosystem and you'll be well taken care of. I know there's a lot of content on YouTube, and you have to be careful about whose video content, whose blog content, whose social media posts you pay attention to. And be very careful, because if you start applying anywhere and everywhere, there's third-party data, there's third-party organizations who now have it and will start calling you, emailing you, texting you, and you want to be careful about who you're getting your information from. Something sounds more enticing, but they might be trying to scam you, trying to get you to sign up with an application fee, which shouldn't be there for the most part. It's not with me. That doesn't happen. You'll be well taken care of. So credit doesn't always become a factor, but if you're in that revenue bracket, from 5K to 15K, it can become a little bit more of a constraint, especially if you're underneath a 600. We can get you in with like a 550 and above with 5,000 per month. If you're at 3,000 per month consistently over the last 3 months, but not over 5K, there might not even be a credit requirement, which is good. We can bypass that. It's kind of like collateral. When you offer up collateral, then we can more or less bypass the credit requirements and look at just your annual gross revenue or sales and see if there is anything there. And if you have a piece of equipment and maybe you're somewhat in a startup phase, but you need to give something up, real estate, or you have liquidity, equity in that, then we can look at a collateral-based solution. If you're hesitant and you're saying, well, I really needed everything at once. When we think about things, we go, I wanted 100,000, but I'm only getting approved for 5,000 in revenue-based financing, which we just look at your bank statements. We're not looking at collateral. We're not looking at credit. There's the three that I talk about: cash flow, credit, collateral. You come to me with a cash flow-based solution, then we're going to look at your bank statements. We might need to look at a recent tax return, year-to-date profit and loss. Just depends on the type of service: lower documentation, medium, higher documentation. And so credit, like I've had people recently who've gone through applications. Some of you have become unresponsive, so be responsible and accountable. When I reach out to you, please allow feedback. And so you may get declined, and I may have known the reason, but you had the qualifications for it. We just had to go a little bit more, and it's a soft pull. And so when we go through it, we can communicate back to you what is the actual reason. Credit, you might have some delinquencies, you have some charge-offs, you have some new open lines, and it's just so much debt maybe that you're already under that we couldn't pressure you to take a daily or a weekly repayment at that point, maybe if it's a monthly or a biweekly. So what you have to do is go back into your credit, make sure you're monitoring your credit for those of you in here that are not, excuse me. And I'm also going to leave a great resource down below where I outsource my work if you guys need help with credit repair. And I know this guy personally and in business, and he works extremely well and hard for you. And the reason I can't do it is because as I used to do those things, to a degree, I have to focus on helping you guys get the business funding and a few other areas. So if you guys would like to know more about credit repair, as well as anything personal tip related with personal credit and business credit, you guys should start building that, establishing it. Vendor credit, credit lines, business credit cards. I'll leave a free video series and more content down below. Now back to the topic at hand. And at any point, if you guys have any comments, please feel free to voice them in the comment section. I know I didn't say that earlier. We are streaming right now on YouTube spontaneously. If nobody comments, I get it, because I didn't even end up scheduling this, telling you guys that I was going to be here. But credit could be a problem, and that could wipe out the file. Now, if you're an independent contractor at $15K plus per month, and again, it varies per lender. Another lender would have wanted 20, maybe another one would have wanted 30. And at that 30 or 20 level, they're more lenient on bringing you in with bad credit, even with some things that show that shouldn't show, because you have strong enough, revenue, because revenue is going to make up. You have enough cash flow. If you're doing 30,000 a month, they may have a requirement of a 500 FICO instead, or 450, because you have stronger revenue. And if those balances look good enough, then they might take a chance on you. So at this level, 15K plus per month, you could get in realistically with the 500 plus FICO credit score. Okay, make sure you guys are taking care of your FICO 8, FICO 9, Experian, making sure that you're just not using something like Credit Karma and using these Vantage scores, and making sure that you stay on top of what your credit is telling you. Because if you don't, I'm telling you, it's happened to me, it can happen to you. Something that shows that you didn't think was there, or you didn't think it would affect you, it ends up doing that, and it ends up dropping your term. It can end up increasing your rates. You have too much of a debt to income ratio. There are some things we need to take care of. But at 15K plus per month and 500 plus and above in FICO, you can get realistically between 75% to 200%, if not somewhere between more 50% to 150%. Just depends on where I take this and what lender I take you to. And that's the advantage you want to have. Instead of just applying everyone anywhere, the whole spray and pray method, you want to have me take you to the lender who's going to say, hey, we can approve Jimmy, we can approve Sally here for actually up to 180%. This other lender here would have thought, no, you know what I mean? I'm going to get you 120%. But this lender over here said, no, let's help them get more. And we can do that because we're reputable, and we are an A-tier client, or we're a B-tier client that sits above someone else, and they fully understand you and your business. That's who you want to do business with. So 15K plus per month, you can get 75 to 200% of that, of your lowest monthly revenue usually. Sometimes we do average. We can average the two, and then we can do an average of the last 3 months and see what those numbers tell us, and see if you're projecting upwards. But a lot of the times it's your lowest monthly revenue. And just keep this in mind. You get between 10 to 15% of your annual gross sales sent to you. And usually, sometimes it's 20%, but usually, you know, up most of 13% right now is what I'm seeing in this market. Even with incredible annual gross revenue, bank statements, you can be doing 6 figures above. You might be capped at 13%. And we have to look at the right lender to help you get that type of a business loan. So without collateral, like I mentioned. Let me move this here. I think you guys are seeing that. Without collateral, no hard credit checks. And then if there is one, usually it starts soft pull. We'll let you know, and we'll have consent from you. We will never do something that doesn't make sense. We don't do things like that to you. Even no credit checks at some points with the lower revenue. No credit checks. Bad credit is acceptable. Lower documentation. And I want to jump into that segment now. There's so much more I can put here. But literally, you can have like 3 months of bank statements. That's it. Now, California and Utah laws, now that we've changed that, so CA and UT, hopefully I'm writing this right, equals 4 months of business and personal bank statements. Now, don't get too excited when you see the personal bank statements if you've been around this industry. Now, so what's changed? No, nothing has changed. It's just that when you're looking at personal bank statements, that's when we're at this level. That's when we're at usually if you have the 3K right here. That is the part where you can use a personal checking account. Sometimes it'll change. It might change, but we have a personal checking account used for business. Now, if you're at these levels, 5K, 15, 20, and above, of course, we want to see a business checking account. We want to see what's going in your business. We don't want to know what's going in and all the stuff that we see going into your personal account. And then you having to transfer from personal to checking, that doesn't count as stated revenue. So if you don't have a business checking account, go on it, get on it pronto. And then you're going to probably have to wait an additional 3 months until you have 3 sufficient months of business bank statements being deposited into that business checking account, not transferring bank statements. And if you're in that transition phase, let me move this over because I have a lot of clients right now, and I've actually helped a few just now get funded who have a transitionary phase of going from one banking institution to another. So you may be going from like a Wells Fargo to a Chase to Wells Fargo, U.S. banks, you have Banks of America, whichever one it is. So there will be that time where we'll ask for those months of bank statements. Depends on how much months you already have built underneath that. Voided checks and a few things. So let me come back into this. So 3 months of bank statements, Utah, California, and then we can show you multiple offers. We're supposed to show you multiple offers for those states and possibly more coming up in the future. With a voided check a lot of the times. And copy of your driver's license. And then it kind of varies too by lender. Sometimes they'll want to see, the majority 4, otherwise 3, and then some of them will want to see 6, more of a history. But you can really get in with a least amount of information that needs to be supplied. So if you're that business owner who's wondering, hey, I don't want to have to get a business loan or an advance, having to supply a tax return, year-to-date profit and loss and balance sheet that's most up to date, and maybe some last year's or 2 years ago's tax return and extra supplemental documentation. Maybe that if you showed them that, it wouldn't qualify you. Maybe if it was an SBA loan setup, which we're going to jump into here in a second. So please stick with me, and then we'll close up. Try to do it before the 30-minute mark. And what ends up happening again is you are just like, Michael, get me in with at least the lowest amount of documents, and what are the details to these services and these lenders. And I have people ask me these questions all the time. And again, the best thing to do is fill out that questionnaire down below. And I'm a very meticulous person, guys. System, mathematical, process, and automation oriented. So you're getting the best from me regardless. You go to someone else, they will usually overpromise and underdeliver. I have my notepad here. I'm just writing some things down as I go. But make sure you do not get caught underneath the wrong person. Be careful if somebody is impersonating me. In the comment section, after this is up, on the replay, or now, be careful of people commenting. If it isn't me, verify that it is me. Go and see my profile. See my description. Go through those resources. Start at the top with the questionnaire. Learn about my story, which I may conclude with here in moments. So what you have to understand is if you don't want to supply a lot of documentation, we have those lenders. Lower, no doc, especially when we have 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. So I have other content that I created. I'll leave you guys that down below in the description. But we also have what is called a credit line hybrid. And you do have to have stronger credit with this. I'm not going to shade, or I'm not going to just hide behind that and say there isn't anything, and that's not a catch. But you can get access to multiple business credit cards at 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, liquidate to cash out. I've used those for several investments. I've already done that. And I'm banking with Chase. You can go to other banking institutions, use the Wells Fargo card, but without collateral, literally no docs, if any, just the very minimum. Don't have to supply bank statements, a whole voided check, and all of that stuff, tax returns and profit and loss. And you just have to have stronger credit with a 680 and above on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. And you can actually get access to credit cards, business credit cards, without a 680. I would say get at a 650 to get a better approval amount, better approval odds. And I'll leave more information down below on how you can help your independent contractor business and any kind of business in general, not just as an independent contractor. And if we've spoken, more or less, you already know this understanding. So back to the topic, and then I'll go away from this and show you a few other things. So you guys got to see the 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, or heard about it. I know I have another video down below. I can't spend hours upon hours on each one of these segments because I have content on it down below that I'll also go into. So 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. And up to this point, let me just show you guys what we've looked at. At a man at the top of the roof, putting the sealer on, putting some coating on, and taking care of business for some other homeowner. Or maybe it's a new home and they're just laying some roofing. And so they just want to be able to make sure they maximize their own potential and that they have the tools and supplies. They wouldn't have been able to have the harness. They wouldn't have been able to have the equipment, the gear, the cap, the boots, everything needed to take care of this job if it weren't for getting funding. And it's not always through a loan to start with. It could be business credit. It can be business credit cards. And that's how you start building it. And then business vendor credit, especially vendor credit. You guys want to maximize all those options. So construction field, Uber drivers, Lyft truckers, musicians, the list goes on and on. I could have listed so many of them here. Wherever you go, just know that I have your back and will do what it is in your best interest. Private lender equals independent contractor, pre-revenue, non-startup. It's going to be more equal to getting that money. Pre-revenue, we can look at stronger credit, 680, 700 and above to get a personal / startup loan that you can use for business. Without revenue, no private lender. With revenue, at a minimum of 3K plus per month, you may be able to supply yourself with a personal checking account and with no credit requirements. If you have 5K plus per month, up to 75% of your lowest monthly revenue usually, credit isn't 100% the decision maker, but it will have an impact. So get above a 600 in this market is what I want you guys to do. Is if you're below 600, if you don't even have a 550, you're really not going to get looked at. It used to be 450, and the only way we would make an adjustment to 450 is if you have way stronger revenue, not 5, not even 15. You want to have more. And sometimes 5K, but it's most difficult to fund those. So make sure you have above 550, get into the 600s, get closer to 625. If you're at a 5K level, get at least a 625. If you're at a 15K level, you're fine where you are. But in reality right now, you want to have at least a 650 and above. And the credit requirements are becoming much, much more of something that they're looking at. Because the banks aren't lending as much, you're seeing people who are coming over here to this world. And it's been like this where more people get accepted, but you have to have the details. If you don't have them, it's going to be much harder. And then 15K plus per month, you can realistically get in with the 500 plus FICO because you have stronger revenue. And then you might have stronger average daily bank balances, average monthly bank balances. It's not fluctuating maybe as much. And we can work with you more and give you more of a maximum amount if you have everything that we need. And then 10 to 15% of your annual gross sales usually is lent to you. Usually 13% right now is what you're seeing. Without collateral, or up to 13, I should say. Without collateral, no hard credit checks, no hard credit checks, not even credit checks. Excuse me, that kind of threw me off. And then bad credit is acceptable, even if you have good credit, lower documentation, medium, higher doc, 3 months of bank statements, California, Utah, 4 months, and that can change it with more states if need be. And personal bank statements for those lower revenue months, voided checks, copy of your driver's license, voided check, I should say, voided checks if you have multiple banks. Copy of your driver's license, 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. Now, there's more additional funding that I can get into. So what I want to take a brief look at before I run into this next segment, and then we'll close up shop here. And feel free to comment if you guys have anything. What you have on your screen, get the funding your business needs fast. You can select from the 2 buttons below to fill out the right funding questionnaire. So it should take you here. You might be able to click here, learn more about me right there. And then you can click one of these two. So I'm a startup. No, I'm a non-startup with 3 months in business. Okay. Beside the fact from the revenue, you have 3+ months time in business. All right. Get the funding your business needs fast. Complete the questionnaire form below. Let's move this out of the. Actually, you guys can't see that screen, can you? Yeah. Actually, Here, let me move this. Yeah, you guys can see that. Okay, good. So complete the questionnaire form below to get a personalized and customized email response for your best funding option and options from a real, myself, business loan broker expert. I'm taking care of you. I'm not shopping. I'm not sending this to some other broker who's taking care of it for me and somebody who's going to misuse your information. No, you want to hear it from me. You want to go ahead and look back today, the next day. You want to be able to say to yourself, who is looking at my file? Okay, it's Michael. And he described to me that he has a team as well. So I have a team and I know what's happening in the underwriting. I get that feedback from the lender, the underwriter. I have my team because it makes it more efficient and energy and time saving when I have to do other things. So they handle certain parts, I handle the other parts. But I'm always in there understanding the offer. I'm always in there understanding the underwriting. I'm in there understanding the bank statements, the financials. Before I send anything in, I have to make sure that it looks good, it looks clean, it looks up to par for what that lender or that organization is looking for. So from a real loan broker expert, don't let that slip past your mind. There are people in this YouTube platform or people on their blog. Well, I'm not saying they're bad people at all, or I'm not saying they're not giving you good information. Don't get my words mixed. What I'm saying is, to what extent do they give it to you? See, I've been in this industry long enough, so you want to get it from the pro. You want to get it from somebody who knows their stuff and who actually is in your position, who's been able to get funding, who has businesses. This is an independent business that I run. I have a few other ones too. Plus, you will get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding faster without making mistakes. And I like to say for funding much, caps lock, faster. And even if you're looking for that SBA loan that we can know it takes 4 to 8 weeks, if you can get it done in a month, less than a month, I'm going to work with you on that and make sure everything is taken care of as soon as possible for the time that you need it. Now here, you'll just enter some simple funding details like your name, your email, your phone number, mobile preferred, please mobile. I'm not here to harass you, heckle you, pressure you. I want to be able to text you after I analyze and evaluate your funding details. When you submit this, it goes into my inbox, and then I will respond back via email with your best funding option and options. It'll be a long email. Don't be overwhelmed. Your best options are up the top, conclusion and roadmap at the very end. It might be a cutoff email on desktop and laptop and tablet, perhaps, maybe mobile, but not a lot of times. And you may have to click that little button at the bottom or that little link that says it's message clip, and then it opens up in an external tab. View the whole thing. Go to the bottom, but the very top will have your best funding option. It's unlike anything else you guys have ever seen, and you can get started right there and then on that email. It will answer all questions, anything you have doubts on. It'll justify everything, and then the documents and the question, and then the application usually link is there for how we want things done. Fintech companies and lenders, they want it. And if there's a portal and there's stuff how I want it to be asked and given to me, then it'll be there. And any questions and any doubts, you can get back to me. Your phone number, funding amount that you are requesting. Please give me up here these good amount of information. And the funding amount, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. And again, I want to make sure to follow up with you and text you, hey, I just sent you an email response on your best funding options. Look for the subject line. And I don't call you necessarily like right away. That's not my processes. So I have a very systematic way, and this works extremely well. You can ask people in the past who have done this. I get people funded who haven't even had a call with on the phone. Literally people who are doing 3 million, 4 million a month, because they trust me, because you are watching here my content, that you've seen me for some time, that you know, hey, I can sit with this guy. He knows this stuff. Time in business, please specify years or months. All you have to do is put a Y or an M. You don't have to put the whole letters. I know you might be lazy to do that, but if you really want to put the time to get this thing done correctly, you would do a little bit of that. You would say 5Y, 5 years and a half. Okay. Dang, I even see some people put in like 5.5 years. I'm like, dang, thank you for being as thorough. You didn't have to be that much, but I could tell the kind of person you are by filling this stuff out. And just knowing that alone, I'm going to know what kind of effort you put into things. And I'm going to know if I should invest my energy and time into you, because I'm always asking myself, guys, no friction, no resistance. Let's do this with the most energy and time efficiency possible. I don't want to have to age 20 years. I'm 30 years old. I don't want to have to age 50, an extra 30 years at my age right now. And I am already old enough, and I am an old soul at heart. But just don't get me to age another 10 to 20 years, because we're going back and forth and all this friction. And then in the application process, there are times for phone calls and times for if it needs to be. But if it's very streamlined, just get through it. You know, put yourself in my position. I'm always thinking about you and how I can make it more energy and time effective. I'm improving systems with lenders as we speak. I'm improving how we can do things better, or we don't have to, we don't have to necessarily do this one part. We can slim down on that, and then we can improve on this. It's kind of like when you look at your profitability at the end of the year, you look at it every single week, you look at it every single 30 to 60 to 90 days. You come back and you see what you've done for those quarters, and you go, well, I've increased my expenses here. I'm going to have to cut back this time of the season, and I'm going to have to focus on improving this one product that's going to be generating me the most profit. And that's what most business owners don't do, is they focus on too many things at once. And instead of focusing on scaling that one product and seeing how you can get more out of the lifetime of a customer by increasing your services, by adding more to the price, not lowering your costs, in fighting for price elasticity and inelastic demand. I apologize for that. I know sometimes that word, inelasticity. I did a lot of micro and macroeconomics back in the days. I did well in those classes. But I wasn't the smartest person in class. I had my failures. I had those times when I didn't do well in class, and I didn't necessarily pass it because it was like foreign language to me. But I went back into it and I redid it, and I didn't even have to, but I went back into it. And that class, I was like, I'm going to knock it out. And I did very well. So it's not about falling and staying there. It's how many times you can fall and get up and continue to move your business forward. And I'll go a little bit into my story, but I want to cover some marketing tips for you guys so you can continue to grow your business. And so, time in business, FICO credit score, please don't just list, don't leave it blank. I'm not a creditor. I won't use this against you. This is not an application. This is for me just to know what could be your best funding option and options. And I can pre-underwrite a file knowing what that credit score is, and I won't use it again against you. I never do any of that. I would be not here making this video for you just to tell you some beautiful things, tell you what you want to hear. And so just so you know that. So do you have established business credit? Big difference if you do or not, night and day. Yes, SBA lender. If you have everything else, no SBA lender. Yes, maybe another private lender who wants business credit requirement. Nope, you don't get an A-tier client. You get a B-tier lender instead. Okay, yes, A-tier lender. Nope, B, C, D, E plus tier lender. Okay, ownership percentage. If 50%, here, let me move this over here. Okay, ownership percentage. If 50% and below, please list owner 2's FICO, or at least a range. More precise is better, at least the lowest FICO credit score of all owners. So if you have 50-50 split, 51% and above, usually one. But if you have multiple owners, you're the majority owner, 51% and over usually would take that one. But when it is 50-50, a lot of the time, even at 51%, you want to list the lowest FICO credit score. And so if it's at 50-50 split, 25, whatever it is, please list those credit scores, but list the lowest. I want to know, okay, that's the one we're going to use. We're not going to use your high one because you guys are all included in the business. We're not going to take an average of them either for the majority of the time. We want to know why that person is taking a bigger hit than everybody. So if you have multiple owners, check each other's scores. Make sure you guys are on top of this and keep it up. Lowest monthly revenue in the last 3 months, average monthly revenue, average daily bank balance. I can even ask average monthly bank balance. We'll just leave it at that. And we'll see that when we look at the bank statements for the majority of the time. And I can do the math and the numbers on all this. Annual gross revenue, highest monthly sales in the last 6 months. Notice how I haven't asked annual net income. I can ask for that. I might have another field for that. But usually it's not what we're going to be predetermining on everything. Your highest monthly sales in the last 6 months, estimate that if need be. You can estimate it on some of the other fields. But be as accurate as you can. Average monthly gross sales in the last 6 months, estimate if need be. Use of funds, drop down, COVID relief, expansion, purchasing existing business, and factoring invoices, payroll. There's a lot more. Inventory, working capital, other. You may be able to have a field where you can enter that, if so. But make sure if you're purchasing an existing business, you have an existing business. Please state your own business details in this form. And then in the additional notes section, you can put the existing business's details. Is it profitable within the last 2 years? Has there been some kind of business credit established? I know it's underneath that owner's entity, but is there anything that the business is building by itself that's helping to build? How much experience do you have with this type of business that you're looking to purchase? And a little bit more stuff like that. But if you don't have one, you can list the purchasing businesses details here. Like I said, again, if you have an existing business, that's what we want to go off of. And we can use that to even get you funding for that as a down payment and for other things. And do you have a 10% down payment for an SBA loan? If it's not SBA loan purchasing related, we can do it another way. Existing business loan, yes or no? Don't just put yes and then don't skip this. So if yes, this is a required field for you. If no, it really isn't a required field, because if you have an existing business loan and it's EIDL related, if it's just EIDL related, you don't really have to put this because it's not going to affect usually any other type of financing. It's like the bank's position is not the same as having a position with an advance of a business loan over here. Yeah, we can see what you have with the bank and what they were lending to you. We can maybe come in a second position there and maybe more or less get you that, if not more. But it doesn't necessarily affect because you have a bank position. Should it affect you having another position when you come get an alternative loan advance? So yes, okay, EIDL related. Yeah, I have. Look, for example, I have EIDL. Okay, but I also have a position or two. So okay, you have two positions. Put two positions down. Now, what is the total debt that you have remaining, or how much have you paid off on the balance? What is remaining? You got to be a little bit more specific with me. The reason being, excuse me, is because if I'm going to take this over and we're looking at a consolidation situation, all right, if I'm looking at this and I'm going, he's looking or she's looking to refinance and then consolidate these existing loans, she's looking to actually pay off other debt with the loan she's getting. And then the rest of it, she's using it for growth and expansion. A certain percentage of that is going to this. Now that I know that she's using it for that, or he's using it for that, I can better assess, engage, and say, okay, well, usually most lenders don't want to pay off past 3 positions. They'll look at just 2 positions and they can probably pay those 2 positions off. However, you have to have been given a bigger amount. So if you have you have 2 positions, how much of that balance has been paid down? All right, I only have 25%. I only got this loan not even a month in. So you have 3 positions, 2 positions, you're looking to pay off those 2, put it underneath 1. You just got a loan, hasn't even been a month yet, and we can't get you we can't consolidate that usually. In the balance, you still have 75%, 85% to pay off. You have another one that you haven't even paid off 50% of that. And so you just got a loan. Well, you want another position. Well, you might have to wait a month. You have to pay at least 30 to 60 to 90 days at times. So make sure that you do that. That's why it's important for me to know this, because if I take this to an SBA loan lender, if I take this to an advance type of term loan lender, 6 to 24, 3 to 24 months, because revenue-based financing encompasses now not just an unsecured term loan with APR, but usually it's an intermix of an advance, a merchant cash advance. Not traditionally is it always a merchant cash advance, but a hybrid advance with all revenue and a term loan. They're usually intermixed. That's what you see a lot in this market, and they're not bad. You can get daily, weekly, sometimes bi-weekly or even monthly, but usually weekly is where the people start, and then daily is a majority of it. So even if you started there, I'll let you know, hey, like I spoke to a business owner yesterday, and we have a great relationship. And we said, hey, we have a weekly repayment. Oh, you feel more comfortable with daily? That's actually a surprise for some people for me to hear that. But not if I know the full spectrum of the details of their finances and so forth. I'd look at it and I wouldn't even question that. I said, yeah, daily's better. And then the bank statements, looking at the daily bank statements, and I go, oh, well, or the monthly bank statements, excuse me. Yeah, makes more sense. And what they're trying to prepare for with their debt. So yeah, you may have that decision where you go, hey, I got a weekly, but no, I actually want to do a daily. I feel more comfortable getting a daily out, fixed percentage, which is better. Fixed amount. I get to know that I get to take out $500, $800, $200, $150 because my cash flow is high enough, and I'm taking this money, I'm doubling, tripling, quadrupling, and I'm not looking at it just from a savings point of view. On if I had a 13-month, 11-month term, this is a $16,000 repayment versus a $20,000 repayment. That's just in the scope of things. There's better benefits than looking at that. You have to think about what you're taking this money, how much you're actually getting. The early payment discounts, no prepayment penalty. You have a better relationship with me. It's always going to work out in your best interest. And when you come to me, again, you're going through the best. I know that. And you're going to be careful because you have to go through all these other places, and we'll let you know what to do when you're in underwriting, what you shouldn't do. Just because somebody can advertise on a budget of 50 to 100,000 like you guys see on those companies out there doesn't mean that they're the best. They have a lot of probably lenders, but they're shooting your information, they're shipping it out. It could be hurting your credit. It couldn't be. But at the same time, you don't know if you're getting the best lender and the best strategic partnership and roadmap, do you? And they don't really assimilate with you. Like, I want to know somebody that's going to be there for me. Like, if I get this funding, are we going to be working on an SBA loan? Hey, can he work with me with my business? I'm going to be doing everything. Depends on how we have to do this. So if you answered yes, please be specific, just not EIDL related. Okay, if you answered yes to the above question and not just EIDL related, here, let me move this over. And not just EIDL related, please put down the remaining balances, total debt amount, and type of loan. If advance, how many positions, etc. Bank position, that's different. So you tell me I have a bank loan of 100,000. Okay, now I know we can come in on a good position. We don't have to necessarily count that bank loan in as much. Term length expectation. How much time do you want? Some people say, I want 20 years. Yeah, that's not going to work. You want 5 years, and it wouldn't work right now. You have to build that, and we can then go look at an express loan. But it's only 5 years. But if we can do 3 to 7 years, better flexibility. Up to 10 years, probably 350,000 and above for a standard SBA 7A loan. Up to 25 years with real estate. And so if it's a term loan with less documentation, it'll be a little bit more difficult. 1 to 5 years, it's hard to get in that 2-year plus range right now in the market. 36 months can happen, but you have to have the strongest revenue, your industry and everything. It's harder to. Term length expectation. When do you need your funds? Business industry, business name. Any additional notes? Like I said, if you're purchasing an existing business, but you have an existing business that you fill the details out for, put it there. And for any other reason, expansion, payroll, hey, be specific. Hey, I'm using 20% of my funds for new inventory, and I'm just going to go through this without correcting, and normal inventory, and to purchase 150,000 piece of equipment. I don't know. You get specific. I have marketing and advertising solely that I'm going to be using it for, whatever that case is. There's so many reasons. And then you can learn more about the process, how it works. It's a quick video. It might look a little bit different in time, but there's so much you can do there. So I kind of went off completely there on a tangent, but just to go over what it would look like. Now, let me skip back here to make sure that I can go back to this for the independent contractors page. There we are. And then we'll kind of close up shop. So I went already into everything. There's so much more. I'll leave information to down below. How to get up to $26,000 per employee in a refundable payroll tax credit. SBA EIDL right now has been stagnant. I'll keep you guys up to date. I likely broadcasted that to you guys if you're a part of my email sequence. And you always want to be in my email sequence. Doesn't matter. Sometimes I may send 1 or 2 a day, once every 3, 4, 5 days or so. I just want to make sure that you guys are staying up to date in the market, and you guys are getting it from the best. So that shouldn't bother you. You probably already are getting a lot of messages from somebody else, from emails. And I just want to make sure that I'm showing up there for you and that you're not missing it. And be careful of those other people who are trying to sway you in their direction. And that connection to me is strong with you, not only in business, but on a personal level. Honestly, it is. And if I can have a laugh with you, and just know this, I'm a Libra. So I like to have a joke here or there. They say that Libras are flirtatious, but we're not flirtatious with our words per se, more so with our, what do you call it? With your gestures. That's the word. But that doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything like wrong or nothing like that. I'm just pointing out my horoscope and saying that I'm somebody you can trust. We're very careful. We're very understanding. We listen a lot. We're not manipulative. We won't do things that's only in our best interest. We want to do what's in your best interest. I'm very respectful. I have a younger brother, and I grew up this way. So without going into my story right now, let me cover some marketing strategies and tactics. If you are a business owner in the independent contractor space, whatever business it is, real estate, you're in construction, on house, Angie's List, make sure you're listed in different directories, 411 directories. Make sure you're listed on these sites where, you can get leads from those sites. And we're sometimes too dependent on those sites, social media. So have a website presence. Google local search ads is an amazing one. You want to have a website, I'd say, before you do any of that. Make sure that it is put together. And I can help you if you need anything with that, as I have a digital marketing agency. Now, I do more of a do-it-yourself approach these days. I did the whole do it for you, and I have people who can still kind of more or less work with that. But do it for you. I can send you content on it. And usually I do this for those of you who, stick with me and perhaps do go through and get the funding. And there's a lot of bonuses with me that come with that, and a lot more. But get a website present, landing page if you need to separately. Use landing pages within your website. Make sure you have the heading right. A quick bonus here, if you have a website in your area, it can be local targeted. And without going into the share screen, I might leave information down below on some of this stuff. When you go and create a website, make sure you host it correctly. Yeah, you can start off with GoDaddy. I have a couple. I had migrated from GoDaddy, though, to another hosting provider as my business grew. And I had to use WordPress for hosting services and for blogging. And so I have a blog out there that I still do, and I use a lot of, I have multiple ones. And that's where I kind of feel more comfortable as an introvert. But when you have a website present, you have your navigation, you put everything together, make sure that it's called SEO optimized. And that's where you want to be listed on Google. And you could do things like Google My Business and go through a few of those. I know there's some name changes and all that, but I like to say how it is normally, and or what it used to be set as too. And you can go through there and create a business profile and make sure that every field, the category, you want to start off with your, like if you're a handyman, you know, your repair, that might be the category. And then after that, you have a few other things like roofing and a few other things, but you want to lead in with your category and independent contractor, and then list those services that you have for those categories and make sure you're specific. And I would SEO optimize it, and meaning that you want to have some keywords in there like roofing contractor near me, independent contractor, independent roofing contractor, independent plumber. So you want to make sure you do those things. What is become very big is Google Maps. That's how you're going to be able to crush it. And that's how you show up on. So let me kind of go back here. And then I know I'm kind of going off topic here, guys, on getting funding, but I know this is very helpful. So let me jump back into this. So if I went into Google, tab I wanted to, there it is. So if I went into Google and I typed in roofing contractor, see what it brings up on Google? Roofing contractors near me. Now, it might be different if you're an Uber or Lyft driver. I'm sure they're not going to be doing that. So I'm sure they know what they're doing. And if you have a strong relationship with somebody, they could call you from time to time again to help them out. So roofing contractors near me. You can even type in roofing contractors. And it's just one example again. And you're going to see it geo-targeted because you also are on business, Google My Business, and so forth. And you have a Google Maps, which Google Maps is going to like this. Look, it's going to show up here if you have that listed on your site, and see how it's dedicated to my area. So if I scroll down here, and it looks like a different setup, but it also has changed, and you're going to be seeing a lot of shopping ads and a lot of reviews at the top for ads, because these are the ones that have reviews on their site. So make sure that you have Google reviews. If you have Trustpilot reviews, Yelp, leading with those Google reviews, make sure that you have, because you can show up higher on the search engines just by that alone, and that everything else is optimized. Like you see the categories here, and I have tools that show me what business owners are being listed as. So let me move this. I don't know if you can see it as clear, but I see it here. Ibex Roof, they have a 4.9 stars out of 5, 46 reviews. And then this one has 29 reviews. So yes, your reviews have a big impact. So once you start servicing businesses, your own customers, B2C, B2B, making sure that you have those reviews and you follow up with them and ask them for a review. And then you can list it there on Google and you have it done. So basic audit, teleport, review audit, post audit. And so what I have here, and I have the extension, I think, I have the extension down for now, but it'll show me like what their categories are listed as. So if I know that they're listed as roofing, I know that they're listed as independent contractor, I'll see that and I'll be able to help you maximize and say, hey, in your area, these are the listings that you have showing. And how can we, in time, perhaps beat this person, or at least get in the last or in the first 3 spots? And so you want to optimize your categories. You want to get Google reviews. So if I clicked here, you're going to see Ibex Roof Portland. See how they said Ibex Roof Portland there, roofing contractor in Portland, Oregon. And once I click through, there is my target. There's my extension showing. So my extension is showing here. Let me make sure you guys are seeing this. Yeah. So for this example, I see that they listed themselves as roofing contractor. So if you're a roofer and you're creating a Google business profile, and you could do that for free, you'd likely want to lead in with the first category that you're listed as in roofing contractor as your category. And then you can list some more after that. Gutter cleaning, get more specific on what you exactly do. Gutter cleaning, I'm a skylight contractor. And then you can learn more about here, see how they're listed. And if we click through the sites, we can click on any of these. And they also may have a Google, what do you call it? The Google Maps. And that's what I also helped out businesses do. And so if you go here, 4.8 stars based on 769 customer reviews. So you could tell at the top. And very quickly, like this to me in my brain, because I'm a digital strategist as well, on top of an expert business loan broker. I know this is my field though. I focus on brokering, guys, so I'm always in the market. I know what's happening. From time to time, though, when I'm still working on things and I have more of a do-it-yourself approach, I can show you these things with video content and so forth. But here, I love it already. Look, I'm going to move it might get dark for a second because I had my HP lighting on. But what you're seeing is roofing contractor in Vancouver, Washington. Bang. I would have put this as an H1 heading because H1 headings get a lot more traction when Google sees that and they can read it more easily, the Google bots. And a lot of things are changing with the algorithms. And so this even then can work well as a sub heading. And so the only full service roofing company you'll ever need. So full service roofing company is a keyword that they could be targeting. So I'm going to open this up on another tab. You guys can't see this. I want to go away from that screen. Full service roofing company. Yeah. So they are targeting a keyword called full service roofing company, most likely. And I could do a lot more research on this to find the keywords and do all this and see what it's bringing up and see if it would be worth your time targeting and competing with, if there's somebody else who's doing it in your area and so forth. But if you're nationwide, there are other things we can do. And then with Ibex Roof, you get a unique combination of value and quality that delivers the best possible roofing experience from beginning to end. And you want to do that. You want to give them the assurance and the confidence without doing anything more. But you see how the number is listed at the very top here, where bang, contact us. Without saying contact us, you have this. I would have put a contact us page or a navigation they could just click on without having to have a drop down. So contact us and then have the number next to it. That's what you want to do, because sometimes people want to email you. They feel more comfortable. And so you got to give them that. You can't just say, hey, here's a number, call it. Not everybody feels that comfortable. And you can give people other options like put in an email in that contact field or on that contact page as a separate page. But it's top of surface level right here. It looks great. Like I have the description, I have the navigation, I have the reviews, I have the confidence of, hey, there's an image there, the type of work, the kind of homes that they work on, licensed, insured, and bonded in Washington. I would have even, yeah, there you go. It shows. And then they even have a 3 times free event. You can have a banner ad at the bottom there. I've done a lot of that. And then right away, this is something that you can build into, is start having your trusted and certified BBB accredited. You want to make sure you're listed there. And make sure you're doing your best work. BIA and Google Guarantee, top-rated home advisor, and more. Give your home the protection it deserves and learn more roofing placement. You can click here. You can see that hyperlink. I'd probably put a button, especially if you're just getting started and you don't have the business yet. Maybe a button is better because it'll show them, hey, here's the button. Go ahead and click it. But I'm sure they have enough business already to know what they need to do. Give your home the protection it deserves. You can read a little bit more. Boom, keep scrolling down. There's the ratings on the Google reviews. Make sure you're listed there, BBB. Facebook, you want to optimize that. Sometimes you get spammed on Facebook. I know I do with those trade bots or crap and all that stuff. Not sure how much longer your roof will last? Boom, book a free estimate. Now this opens up. It's like you're getting a quote here. Get a free estimate. And that's what you want. Eventually having a quote page separately, or you can have one that opens and interjects this way. And you can have the two. Get a free estimate. Then you can take them to a thank you page. You say, hey, thank you. We are in the process. We have received this. Most trusted local roofer. Get peace of mind with our top-notch roofing services, roofing gutters, skylights. As we said, that was one of their categories. You can do that too if you have that. Inspection, our hassle-free process. And you do want to show people too what kind of process. And that's what I do on my sites. And everybody's different in how it works. So, okay, now I know what to do. Learn more about the company. There's an About Us page. We offer the best roofing services in town. Free estimates, frequently asked questions. If you have a blog, I would highly do that. Add it on top because it can help with SEO. So if somebody's typing roofing service, Vancouver, Washington, and how to get my roofing done in Vancouver or something like that, boom, blog. If they SEO optimize it correctly, like I click here, look, they have a blog post specifically. And I do a lot of blogging myself, so I know how all this works. I know how it works with SEO. So October 28th, 2022, that is a great indication because they might update that date time and time again. And that shows relevancy. Even if you didn't have the date, sometimes I don't include that and I'll put it in here, updated for October, updated for 2023. You can put something like that. It doesn't always need to be though. Just make sure that the content helps and speaks for itself. So building energy efficient, what is skylight step flashing? Now that might be something somebody's searching for on Google that shows up for them. How does it work with skylights? Maybe not that, but they're getting into the meat potatoes of it. And then you see more, they listed. So it's easily, you're able to skim through and read through the points. I would have extended this maybe longer. and probably would have done a little bit more SEO optimization on this, making sure that their meta descriptions, meta titles, keywords are where they need to be. Probably it's enough for the content for the keyword that they're shooting for. Again, I'm not looking up all the keywords. The confidence of the sidebar, you may want to have this too, because people will make that decision and go, oh, well, I read this, but I'm not sure. Boom. Now, down here, you have the footer and everything you need to know. Contact is down below. I would have put that at the top too. But get in touch. You see that here. And locations, you have a location tab. You can do that, and we can optimize for each one of them. I would have probably had a link to each and then put a map underneath that that's somewhat similar to the same for all of them. And then estimate financing reviews, you can go to there, probably open up a tab on their screen or a same page here on their website or Google reviews, etc. Specials, case studies, careers, contacts. But sometimes you will see the map listing. Other times you won't see it. And you'll a lot of the times get it underneath the contacts, us, or locations. If I were to click on one of these, it could go through it. Roofing replacement, they have different ones. And they have the map, you have to look for that. If it's hard to look for the map, you got to make it as simple as possible. Now, let me move out of all this and see if I can find one with that. So and then we're going to close up shop. And there's also running ads and then doing a few other things that I'll conclude with here. And we're way past the 30-minute mark, closer to an hour. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for being in here. And we'll get you guys going in a moment. See how this one has a contact us? Now, it's a little bit smaller. And you got to be kind of careful with the black background. I mean, they have a great site. Top of level, I would have made this smaller. Search bar, take that out. This part doesn't look too bad at all. Looks good. Then I would have made this smaller and then get your free roofing inspection. That's what's probably taking up all the space because of this image. Move that out of the way. Put a button here with the number on it. Contact us near it. Shift this over. This has been shifted too far to the left. And I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just critiquing. And you want critique from somebody who's done this and who does their own sites, who's helped out a lot of businesses. Roofing Contractors, Vancouver, Washington. See, that's where I wouldn't have separated this, made this into an H1 heading, if not H2 subheading. Maybe H3 would work. Portland, call us. So you want to target a keyword. I'm not seeing any keywords being targeted, but they have that because of Google reviews and the reputation also helps. But you want to also build this out, not just on Google reviews and that taking the majority. And not always does the Google reviews help, but it's there. Roofing Contractors, we see that. Too much. I think it's just too much. I'm having to scroll too much without getting to somewhere. So this one, I have it here, view more. Let's see. Again, I'm not criticizing their work. I'm just saying sometimes as business owners, we don't know what does it need to go into our site. We don't always do it ourselves, but I have that experience of doing it. You might be able to want to outsource this. So you see, it's already taking long for me to upload this page. Maybe it's a slower site, or maybe it's just my connection. That's what it might be. But regardless of that, now the page is open. It takes longer than 3 seconds for me, at least on my end. All right. It's too much here going on. I don't even know. I have to scroll down before I get and there might should have been a button maybe there. And okay, I'm learning. Great projects. I'm seeing all of that. Some before and afters and what they have there. Reviews. Probably clickable, non-clickable. Yeah, you can click there. And more. Scroll around. Nice. Then we move down here. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You want to have those. Make sure. About us. And then they have a separate page. Contact us. So we go to the contact us page. See, I want to start seeing more location mapping on a lot of these. So even though we didn't get one, a lot of the times you'll see is a map at the bottom of the contact pages or the locations. So located, and then you can click that link. If it's just one location, and then right there at the bottom, you'll see a map a lot of times. So let me go back here. Let me see if I can find one more. So still the same thing I'm seeing. Look at this. This needs to be moved up. Maybe it's just on my screen, or I don't know, but okay. So it looks good here. The reviews, you see somewhat similar. It doesn't always have to be there. Contact us. Okay. Reviews. See that? Nice. Request an estimate. Good. Number. Facebook. Move that up. Professional roofing services in where? Is it one location? Okay. Clark County. Clackamas. I would lead in with the most You can even leave it as that, but you could also local target it and say professional roofing services in California and Vancouver, Washington. Roofing services, Vancouver, Washington. That could just be the intel of it. And then there should be a button there. I would at least put one or direct them what to do. Residential, commercial, or more. At least they have the buttons here, which is good. And I don't have to scroll too much there. It's good. Probably put some SEO on that. Reviews. Clackamas County in Oregon. So they do have all those separate locations. Hours open. It's very important you put that, especially if they're running ads and you're going to the sites. Contact. See, sometimes you don't get it. See, the map is something you want to work on. And I'd put a map for each of those locations that I'm servicing in that county. And it might just be one map for each location, but it's local targeted. And sliding, painting, gallery. So again, even though we're not seeing a lot of that with some of these sites, and this wasn't like, I'm going to go pick a site and put this on this video. I could have taken time to do that, but it's okay. Roofing. Call us now, great button, but still, like, I wouldn't want to do that. I need to see more at the top of level. Roofing service, email given there. See, now they're okay. That wasn't it. So yeah, it's just confusing site. So that's what people do. They look at that and they go, oh, well, I don't know. So here, professional roofing services throughout the Vancouver, I would have put Vancouver area or Vancouver, Washington. Looking for a new roof, looks better. I would have probably put the quote up here instead of scrolling. It's fine though. Roofing you can trust. Testimonials, latest news, contact us. But they're doing a lot of great stuff. See right here, map. Where's the map? Let's see if I don't have that. That's a lot of stuff you guys got to work on too, is making sure that's listed. So we're just going to leave it as it is, but you'll likely always see a map underneath there. Now, once and for all, we're an hour in. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Come watch this on the replay. If you got value, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with others who you feel will get value out of it. Excuse me. It can be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member. But at the end of the day, you can rest your head on your pillow knowing without a shadow of a doubt that you put your hands in somebody else's and you said, come this way. There's somebody that can help you. You don't have to wake up the next day being all frustrated and uncertain and struggling just to get your thoughts in order, consciously, subconsciously, always fighting with yourself, even when you're out of bed, you're out of routine, you're out of habit. We don't want that for you. We want to make sure it's taken care of effortlessly. See what happens when I get into video and I go on with some things? I rarely ever do that. So you guys got to see everything. Independent contractor business loans, any other type of business that can apply to as well. And depends on the service, the lender, the organization. I have direct lenders I can take you to. I also have direct lenders, but in a brokerage setup, it's better to do it in-house right now in the market where I already have those direct lenders. I can say, I'm going to pull from this one. I'm going to pull from that one. You don't want to go always directly to them because they end up just canceling the file or they end up giving you a lot less. You don't get the best rates and terms with a few other things. Let me put the HP lighting on. So be very careful about who you listen to in this space. I just spent an hour here. Would I be doing this to scam you? No, I wouldn't be doing that. Now, it takes time if you want to learn more about me. I'll leave that down below. But I started like you, 9 to 5. I was in a logistics role, logistics and then financial related, working, yes, hard up here. And then I had some physical demands. It wasn't physically demanding, but I was in that role where I had to move some materials, stock some shelves, work for helping out HP as a contractor, one of the better contracting companies in the area, and doing a lot of data analytics, budget analysis, making sure things were ordered correctly. But there was somebody in front of me who I was waiting to take that position and take that next role. And I was in there just for more stability. And I know what it means to struggle. And the company then ended up going down under, relieved quite a few people. And my company, as well as HP, Peace Health, they had to relieve a lot. People at the highest rank. And that's what happens with companies. They trim who has the highest amount of revenue, who's making more. They got to trim those people, and there's more reasons. And so I started looking for ways. I was back on unemployment, back on those food stamp cards. Grateful, but it was, for me, it felt like, again, like I felt somewhat embarrassed, and it was hard. And then having to let people down. I went to school academically, university and community, Division I soccer player. But sometimes you go other routes to try to figure it out. Work construction roles, manufacturing, logistics, some financing roles, not as intensively back in the day. And I did warehousing a long time ago, my younger 20s. And, you learn and live. And so I have a lot of experience already at my age and how I carry myself in the way that I think. And I was able to then learn from a friend of mine one day in my job. I was literally sitting at my desk and in like a dungeon, third floor down, bottom was brown cracks. You could see the cubicle around in somewhat of a gray, smaller, compact. And it felt like the walls were concaving on me. People walking across, sometimes they would look in because it was open. And there was privacy, but not as much as I wanted it to be. And then I got my friend contacted me and he talked to me and we got caught up and he told me about how to make a passive income. And so I started learning, and that day I literally rushed home. Long story short, did my research, started getting into some ways of passive income, digital marketing agency, affiliate marketing businesses. And then I grew those for years and then transitioned and then got into the business loan broker field, which is what I wanted to do eventually. And as an expert now who focuses on this while I have those others running, I put my best foot forward, and I know I can deliver for you in ways that you couldn't even have imagined, because I'm always in my head. I'm always, when you're not seeing me here, I'm always working things out. I got to go do a few things after this. And you want somebody who's going to be in their head. Somebody's going to be there understanding numbers, understanding the documents, understanding the processes, the systems, and the automation to this. And I'll be there for you. I'll take care of you. So again, that's everything. Please subscribe if you haven't. Click that bell notification icon if you haven't, so you don't miss any future content I will be coming out with. Description down below. Fill out that questionnaire. Will be the first thing you want to do. Independent contractors, all business owners of any kind, come and get the help you need. I'm going to show you the right direction without having to make mistakes again, time and time again, having to get caught up in the wrong hands, email after emails. You got to help a small business out. Think about it yourself. Even if you're a larger business, you've probably been in my position, you've probably been in other people's positions, and you go, if I can help that small business owner who's going to take care of me, instead of helping that larger medium firm who just runs advertisement because they have a large advertising budget and 500 people working for them, doesn't necessarily make them the better place to go to, not only as a person and in business, but all forms, like the lenders and everything I have that I can bring for you. I would rather help that person out and say, hey, I made a difference in that small business. And I said, instead of going to this bigger firm or whatever it is, I went to this person and I'm really helping somebody else, not because they're taking the money and using it for themselves, but because I'm putting it back into the business, giving it away to charity, and doing things that I have a strong heart for. So that is everything from me. Appreciate you guys. If you guys don't see me, happy holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, all of these things, please stay safe and secure like always. And if you guys don't hear from me before the end of the new year or end of the year, happy New Year's. You may be hearing from me again if I'm releasing content, maybe not live as much, but happy early New Year's, happy Merry Christmas. Have fun with your loved ones. And in these times of needs, go out there and help someone. Feed people. Be there for them. And you know who you are. I just had a shockwave going down my cheeks because I've helped out people. And it's like I've been that person who needed that help at some time. And whatever you can do, feed a family, give them a meal. Somebody just walking down the street, hey, man, how are you? Get to know them a little bit. And I know that's not the introverted way, but sometimes going out of your own comfort zone to do something for someone is going to leave a long-lasting impression on them. And then if you ever did see them again, it's not like you had to, but they're going to remember you. They're going to look at you and go, that's the person who helped me in this time of need. They were able to donate toys. I was able to do that. I was able to go and feed people, go to those food shelters, go and make sure that everything is taken care of. And like what I get, I give back, not only to the community, but in all locations. And that's the best gift that keeps on giving. And you are the one who is not getting, but the one that's giving. Always being a giving nature. Give without expecting. You might have some expectation, but give without that assurance that I'm going to get something in return. Don't ever expect that. Give more than you get. And it's a testament, and you're going to start seeing a lot of things happening for you and your business, especially. You're going to start, if it's not even a financial ROI, but because of that action or those actions you took, it's going to lift you. It's going to give you more willpower, more motivation to say, hey, I made somebody's life better. I affected somebody in a great way. On to the next one. All right, everybody. Take care. Happy holidays. See you guys on the next one. Bye.